Simply put, all eyes are on Indiana right now because Indiana is truly the last line of defense right now in putting us in the best possible position to retain the House of Representatives.
Why do you say the last line of defense? Because someone could say, well, what about Texas and Florida? Why is Indiana the last line here?
Because of the flare signal that this could send to the rest of the movement.
Which is?
That we as conservatives are not going to lay down and die. And when the left goes hard in the paint in states that they have liberal controlled everything in, the right is going to do the same thing. And a state like Indiana really epitomizes what a conservative state looks like. It's about as red as any other, Wyoming, Alabama, any other top 5 conservative state that comes to mind. There's no reason we shouldn't have a 9-0 congressional map. I don't want to kind of skip ahead here, but that's what's on the table here. And Indiana has that ability to really rewrite history.
Now, I'm not going to be the guy that gets out there and says that according to a couple of private group chats, I'm the guy that says, 9-0 or it's got to go or whatever. That was the rhyme that I came up with. Actually, I think it was 9-0 or your mom's a hoe. But that's, again, moving aside from my quips and things that are going to get us emails. I really don't understand why we have to have Marion County. That's the county that is at the center of the state. That's Indianapolis downtown. That's that county. Producer Nick, while I'm saying this magically, if you could just throw up that county highlighted on the screen there. This is an area that has traditionally had its own little special congressional district and therefore got Andre Carson, who is human trash. I want to make that clear. This is one of the only 5 people in the country who I will openly call human debris. Andre Carson is one of those. I've talked to him personally. He is a horrible human being. And by the way, just for the record, also uses more anti-Asian slurs than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. Again, just a little flavoring here. Why does Indianapolis or Marion County get a special district and no one considers any other district in the state like they consider Marion?
Yeah, I was just telling somebody this who was in opposition to the 9-0 maps.
Because there are a few people, well, let's not be hasty kind of people.
Correct. And kind of the main adversarial phrase that I've been hearing is 2 wrongs don't make a right. California went hard in the paint and removed 5 Republican seats. Hey, we shouldn't do that in Indiana.
2 wrong. What is it? Sesame Street? Elmo says 2 wrongs don't make a right. Get out of here.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. It's a head scratcher to me. And we can obviously talk about what I think that this is masking a much larger issue. But for a lot of the policy wonks, the question I have for them is, do you firmly believe that the 7-2 map as it stands right now is fair? Is a fair representation, is what's best for Indiana? Because what I see are 2 dots over the 2 areas of Indiana that have the largest minority population. You're essentially redlining.
Now, we'll get to the redlining in a second, because this is, look, for conservatives, this is low-hanging fruit. And we can get to the red meat here, because it's a very simple argument that, yeah, I don't think a racially segregated district in the center of the state, and to a slightly lesser extent, just to be fair, a racially segregated district up in the northwestern part of the state, the region, the armpit of the state. Sorry, future Congresswoman Green. That kind of comes with the territory. I don't really like that area. But alas, the thing that always annoyed me in our current map is that here in the eastern central portion of the state, and Kyle Mattern, who is a good friend of the show from Turning Point proper, he's grinning right now because he knows how I feel about this. The Indiana 6th Congressional District is stupid. That's not the word I want to use, but to be FCC and station compliant, that's what I'll say at the moment. The 6th Congressional wraps around from where we are in the eastern central part of the state, from the edge of Ohio and between that and Indianapolis, and then swings down to Columbus, Indiana. Columbus, Indiana is a town, and Greenfield, Newcastle, Richmond, Indiana, they have nothing in common with Columbus. The economies are different. The population representation are different. The industries, the transportation, how they do their roadway taxes, how they do their county commissioner setup, their county council setup. They're 2 very different regions of the state. But because we have to keep the very, very important Marion County sacred, we get gerrymandered like Croatia, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, I call it the Chicago doctrine.
Ooh.
If people who lived on the west and south side of Chicago, if they actually had the conversation with themselves someday and said, hey, this neighborhood's been impoverished for decades. Unemployment rates are at an all-time high. This neighborhood, for lack of a better term, is awful. What's the common denominator here? Oh, well, it's that we keep electing Democrats. You would think that maybe one of these years the light bulb moment would occur and let's try a Republican now.
Yeah.
And so this is more so than we need to be able to retain the House of Representatives next year. That's the much broader national issue. The very local aspect of this is that we have an opportunity via now new maps that allow for Republican representation to instill prosperity into those two communities of Gary and Central Indianapolis that haven't had that in literally decades.